I completely understand Arthur's energy in Unfinished. The episode itself I didn't think was perfect, and I'll explain why I feel that way, but generally I really like the sentiment. Unfinished is the first segment in the 7th episode of the 10th season of Arthur, and it starts off with quite an interesting beginning, actually, not how I would have expected it to begin. Arthur has to go to this boring grown-up party with his parents, and there are no other kids there, so he ends up going into this library room, obviously quite a wealthy family, reading a book there, and he becomes really engrossed in this story, and he gets to take the book home, and he realizes that the final few pages or the final few chapters are missing, and he is frantic. And I completely understand that. If you've ever been engrossed in a good book, I can't even imagine the agony of getting near the end and realizing the ending is missing. And he does everything he can to try and find a copy of this book. The last version in the library was checked out, I think it was 10 years ago, and never returned. There's a copy online for, I think, $1,000. And I understand that frustration. If you're an avid reader and you like kind of maybe niche subjects, I'm sure you'll be aware of the torment when you're trying to get a copy of a book, but it's so rare and there are so few copies printed that it's just extortionate. And there is that temptation to spend that money, but you know that it wouldn't be wise. And the big question is, will he ever find the ending? I won't say exactly what happens, but I liked that part of the narrative. I was curious to see what would happen. I didn't think it was completely predictable, and I really kind of understood Arthur's emotions. What I didn't like was I think they spent too much time animating the scenes that Arthur was reading. We get to see bits of the novel being animated and the story being told. Yes, so we can understand what Arthur's reading and get a sense of the excitement and the adventure he's reading about, but I feel like they did it for too long. It took up too much time. And for me, that felt like it almost felt like they'd written the episode and hadn't completely filled their time quota, so decided to just write scenes from the book to fill the time. Which, I mean, if that's what did happen, fair enough, because not a lot actually happens in the episode. It is quite simply, he goes to this party, he finds the book, he tries to find it in the library and online, and that's, apart from the resolution, or kind of resolution, that's basically all that happens. So I can understand why they included that, but for me personally, I just feel like it took me out of the story and I wasn't that interested in it. So, from that perspective, I didn't think it was perfect. But nevertheless, I did enjoy it. Unfinished is a good episode, but I think it needed to be a little bit more finely tuned.